If you're looking for a mod that adds guns into Minecraft, then Flans Mod is by far the mod for you. There is no other mod that even comes close to matching the selections of weapons it has, along with adding all sorts of cool things like tanks, planes, and artillery. In this video tutorial, I will be teaching you everything you need to know about the guns added in Flans Mod, including modification, crafting, and general use. But before we get on to that, be sure to smash that like button and click subscribe so that you don't miss out on anything. This here is Gilbert. Gilbert is going to be our test subject for today. As you can see here, there are a lot of guns and ammo to choose from. There's some from many different types. It's all really well balanced in this mod, which is why I really like it. You have all sorts of things like heavy machine guns, and shotguns, and sniper rifles, and pistols, and they're all really well balanced together. But then you have things like the minigun, which is just ridiculous. Now let's go over the basic types of weapons there are in Flans Mod. So here we have a light assault rifle, which is exactly what it sounds like. Shoots fast, does a little bit of damage, but most conveniently light and maneuverable. Here we have a rifle, which is a pretty standard rifle. It's semi-auto, does a decent amount of damage, but you can't shoot it super fast. Here we have a heavy assault rifle, which is like a light assault rifle, except heavier, doing a lot more damage and packing a lot more firepower. We also have a shotgun. Shotguns do more area damage rather than long range damage. We also have pistols, which are very compact and convenient, but they don't do a whole lot of damage. Lastly, we have sniper rifles, which take a little bit to load, but then once they are loaded, they're deadly accurate. As far as I know, there is no single weapon in Flans Mod that is so overpowered it makes any other weapon obsolete. But as far as I can tell, the Flans Mod has always been a really balanced mod. And also, as you're about to see, it's very usable in survival mode. The crafting recipes are adapted for vanilla items that are actually quite easy to get into survival mode. Now, in Flans Mod, guns are crafted very differently from most items. In order to craft weapons, you first need to craft weapon boxes, which are commonly made using iron and some sort of dye. There are two different types of weapons box. You have the World War II weapons boxes, and then you have the Modern Warfare weapons boxes. Now in here, you can select these and craft them simply by having these materials in your inventory and selecting craft. As you can see, all of these guns are guns that would have been used by the particular nation during World War II. As you can see, a gun normally costs some iron and some wood to make, but the ammo is also relatively cheap and only costs maybe 1 or 2 gunpowder and some iron. As you can see here, now that I have the items in my inventory needed to craft a particular gun, I can simply hit craft, and it'll automatically craft an M1 Garand. And for the ammo, I can craft the ammo pretty easily. And from what I can tell, all of the weapons models are really well made and detailed, along with the sights as well. Another thing I really like about the mod is that there are particle effects where bullets hit, so you can tell where your shots are landing, and it just makes it that more realistic. Over here we have the modern weapons boxes, which function almost exactly the same as the World War II weapons boxes. As you can see, you just have the items in your inventory, and you can select craft for the ammo and the gun to create what you need. But as you can see, you will need some fiberglass and some dye in certain occasions. You can create fiberglass by smelting a sand and clay mixture. And a sand and clay mixture is made simply by combining, you guessed it, sand and clay. I also forgot to mention some of these explosives. Flans Mod also adds an RPG, which can be very useful in blowing things up, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage to actual blocks. The Stinger missile also does quite a bit of damage. The mod also adds in several different types of grenades, which are pretty easily throwable and they do quite a bit of damage. There are also grenade launchers that can shoot different types of grenades, such as incendiary grenades, gas grenades, and then straight up impact grenades. Now I'm gonna have to fix that. Also, as a side note, gas grenades may seem kind of useless, but they are really useful. As you can see, when one detonates, if I go inside of it, you actually get a little bit of a blindness effect. So if you're trying to suppress an opponent, or you're just trying to give yourself a little bit of an advantage, these gas grenades can do the job. You can also not see anything through these particles, as you can tell. Now we have this thing. Don't mind the giant hole in the roof. But here is the weapons modification table. And right now it doesn't look like a whole lot, but for a while I didn't even know that this was a thing, but the reality is it's really overpowered. If you can get the right modifications on the right weapon, you can make a really deadly combo. Let's go over some of the most basic modifications. Here we have some fire modifications. Single fire does what it sounds like it does and makes it so that even an automatic weapon will be semi-automatic. Burst fire modification does also what it sounds like. It makes it so that every time you pull the trigger, instead of shooting automatically, it shoots a burst of a few rounds. Here's a full auto fire modification, which is by far the most overpowered thing in the game. You can put this on almost any gun, even if it's semi-automatic, and it'll make it shoot like a machine gun. Here we have a foregrip, which seems like a small thing, but it's actually really useful. It gives you an extra way to grip your weapons so that the recoil doesn't affect your aim as much. Here's a silencer. It does what it sounds like. It makes things quiet. And this is a long barrel, which adds some accuracy to your weapon. Here we have some sights. This is a normal laser pointed sight. This is an also laser pointed sight. I think this actually zooms in ×2. This zooms in ×4. This is by far the most zoomy scope, I guess. Let's see some of these in action, shall we? Here I have my favorite FN SCAR. I can simply throw it into this gun modification table and a whole new set of options show up. Over here, as you can see, without any added modifications, I can change the look of the gun. And here is a place to add the foregrip. Here's a place to add your barrel. I don't need a full auto fire modification because this already shoots automatically, but if you were to want to put one of these in there, you'd put it right over there. And I can also add a scope on the top. If I wanted, I could have a sniper SCAR, but for an assault rifle it doesn't work out well, so I'll just put a red dot sight on it. And once you're done, you can simply take the weapon out and it'll have all those modifications. And the modifications actually show on the weapon itself, so it can make your weapon look really unique and custom tailored to you. Though the modifications are very aesthetic, there's also some really practical uses for them. For example, this foregrip is by far one of my favorite modifications because it really decreases the recoil. This is what the recoil normally looks like on an FN SCAR. It's pretty bad, huh? It's not too bad if you try and correct for it, but it can be a little bit more difficult. This is the recoil on the FN SCAR with the foregrip. As you can see, it's not nearly half as bad, and it's so much easier to correct for. The long barrel is also very effective. If you look here, I'm going to try and hit the top of that pole. With the long barrel, I can hit it almost consistently. Now, without the long barrel, I can rarely hit it just because of how naturally inaccurate machine guns are. Unfortunately, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, be sure to leave a like or even subscribe for more content like this. That's all for now, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, join the channel Discord.